The Chargers have officially signed 21 undrafted free agents, but there is one in particular that fans are really excited about. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I went back and watched every single undrafted free agent that the Chargers were going after, and I pointed out this same exact player as one to watch out for. People aren't just excited about this guy because he would fill a position of need for us and he looks like Fat Thor and the Barbarian combined, but he has also shown a lot of potential on tape. Let me give you guys the full breakdown of Bucky Williams from Appalachian State. So the Chargers signed 3 guards in undrafted free agency, but Bucky Williams was by far the most impressive to me and was easily the nastiest and meanest offensive lineman that the Chargers added this offseason. And yes, that even includes Joe Alt. Now, I'm clearly not saying that Bucky Williams is anywhere near Joe Alt's level. I mean, Joe Alt, he is way more polished in both the run and the pass game, and also he has really great length and athleticism that he does a very good job of taking advantage of, but the attitude that Bucky Williams plays with is way more aggressive and just like vicious than any other offensive lineman that I have seen the Chargers have in a long time, probably honestly since like DJ Fluker. And there were several plays that I saw of Bucky Williams just throwing dudes on the ground, pancaking guys and blocking them like way out of bounds. This guy has a mean streak and would play through the whistle consistently. And even after the play, I saw a couple times where he would be talking smack or shoving defenders to try and get in their head. And listen, he wouldn't be pushing them like hard enough to get flagged by the refs, but enough to just, let them know who's boss. That is the mentality that Bucky Williams has, and as an unranked high school prospect coming out of Georgia, he has had to work his way just to get on the field and get his opportunity in the NFL. So right away, this guy just screams Jim Harbaugh dude. And with a feisty offensive lineman, you guys already know that the best part of his game is his run blocking ability. In 2022, he had an elite run blocking grade of 90, and then last year he had an 83.0 run blocking grade, which, I mean, that might seem kind of like a big drop off, but that was good enough to be the 4th best run blocking guard in all of college football in 2023. And then in 2022, he was the best run blocking guard in the entire country. So this is a guy that clearly takes pride in moving defenders in the run game, and he has proven to be one of the best among his peers at blocking in the run game for 2 years now. In 2022, this is a fun fact, there were only 2 offensive linemen that graded higher than him in run blocking, and one of them was Joe Alt. Keep in mind that this is an undrafted free agent. His ability to climb to the second level was very impressive, and watching him work off of combo blocks, it was just a thing of beauty. He's a natural mover in space with pretty good athleticism. And you know what? Let me just break down a few plays to show you how good he actually is in the run game. This first play I want to show you really shows off a lot of the good traits of Bucky Williams. Look at the first part is the combo block. So we're just going to get that hand out in front in that defensive lineman so that he cannot shoot this gap that Bucky Williams is going to leave, and he can be more centered with the center that is blocking that defensive lineman. Then we're getting to the second level right here, and we're going to take on this linebacker, boom, perfectly in the second level of that defense. And now we're just going to work with him all the way downfield. The play is over, but we're still working with our man, boom, knocking him down out of bounds on the sideline, man. This is the mean streak, the ability to get to the second level, and the ability to work with that little combo block. That's all you need to do is throw that arm in the face of that defensive lineman, and then boom, you smack the linebacker out of bounds. That is exactly what Jim Harbaugh wants to see in his offensive lineman. Now, the second play is going to show the IQ of Bucky Williams. This is a zone blocking run towards the right side. As you can see, everyone is taking that step to the right side. Keep an eye on Bucky Williams and this strong side linebacker, because he's just going to, again, get that combo block with that defensive lineman, push him back so that our center can pick him up. It's all you need to do is just push him into our other guy's space, and then get to the second level. He's stopping his feet and noticing that the linebacker is trying to get into the space right here, and you just cut him off right there. And you can see he could have gotten a little confused with this safety coming down. You can see his eyes up right there, but he knows that the tackle is going to be farther out on that zone, able to pick up the safety Our receiver's doing a good job on the block right here, so we just stop our feet and make sure that no one can come up on this backside and get the tackle on our running back. And look, if the linebacker was in that hole, he wouldn't have been able to get all of that extra yardage. Now, this is another zone run towards the right side of the screen here. Keep an eye on Bucky Williams because he's going to do a nice job of washing this defensive lineman into the play. And this linebacker, he sees it's a zone run, so he goes and tries to penetrate this hole right here. And what the running back should have done is notice that this linebacker is going into this spot right here and cut this back, because look at all of the open space that's being created by Bucky Williams, just pushing this defensive lineman and washing him away into the play side. The running back absolutely should have cut this thing back. It would have been tons of yardage. Now, really quickly, I want to tell you about Underdog Fantasy. This is my favorite fantasy sports app. If you click the link in the description and use my code McClane, that is MACLANE, you will get a special pick'em and a first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. This is a new deal that Underdog is just starting to do. So if you want to get that special offer, use my code, use my link. It helps me out so much, and you guys know I love Underdog Fantasy. Now let's get back to Bucky Williams. So he seems like a great player, right? So why did he go undrafted? Well, he is not consistent in working in space and getting to the second level. He doesn't have great length, and that tends to cause him to reach and like lean into guys and put his head down and lean into guys, and that can get him into trouble quite a bit. He also doesn't really have great lower body strength, and he falls to the ground a lot because he isn't able to set his base as well as if he did have really strong legs. So although he does flash some really great reps in the run game, he does still whiff on blocks at times, and he can get lost in space, or even worse, not be able to drive guys off of the spot because of his lack of strength in those glutes and the thighs. But hey man, get him in that all-you-can-eat buffet with Ben Herbert. Get him to strengthen those legs. I mean, obviously it's going to take some time to put some muscle on him, but we got Bradley Bozeman for this season. Maybe next season he can build up a lot of strength in those legs, and that's not going to be a weakness in his game anymore. Another weakness is the pass protection. He leaves a lot to be desired in this area because he does have a good wide stance with his feet, but again, it is that lack of lower body strength because he doesn't really have a strong base, and he can get beat pretty often because of that. He also tends to use his hands on the outside shoulders of defenders, and he can get grabby with his hands on those shoulders instead of getting those hands inside and on the chest of the defenders, and that can get him into trouble with the refs, because when you get grabby on the shoulders like that, that's holding. And also picking up blitzes in the pass game, picking up the stunt moves when guys are moving over to your gap. He tends to get confused, and even sometimes he commits too much to one defender, and that can leave his quarterback just completely vulnerable to a free rusher. And then also I saw sometimes where he would be, helping out his center, and then he would just turn completely around and have his back towards the play, trying to pick up somebody who the tackle is already blocking. And it's like, you should never turn your back completely around like that as an offensive lineman. So he does need to have his head on a swivel, and he needs to develop some better hands and pass protection. Even with his lack of lower body strength, I think he would be able to manage at the NFL level if he were able to work on those things in his pass protection, like his hands, and just, keeping his eyes up. And that is the full breakdown on Bucky Williams' game. He has a very high ceiling, and it's interesting to me, honestly, that the team listed him as a center/guard. He only played 17 snaps at center in his college career, but he did play every single position on the offensive line, so he does have a lot of positional versatility. I think he projects just as well as a center as he does as a guard in the NFL, and his easiest path to a roster spot on the Chargers, it might just be at center, because we don't really have anyone behind Bradley Bozeman right now besides like Jordan McFadden, who's kind of going to be like experimenting at center in training camp. But among the other undrafted free agents, no one has played center before. I think just his ability in the run game alone is probably going to earn him a spot on this roster because of how valuable that aspect of his game is going to be in a Greg Roman and Jim Harbaugh offense. Bucky Williams, he also has a good score in speed and agility, which shows up on tape. And we know how much this team values size and athleticism as well as the run game. So all the signs right now, they're pointing towards Bucky Williams being able to make this team. And maybe he could be the answer at center after Bradley Bozeman is gone. Willis Patrick from TCU, the other undrafted free agent, he had a really bad athleticism score, and that translates to the field pretty clearly. So I think it's an uphill battle for him. But Karsen Barnhart, he had a really good RAS, and he's bigger. He also has better length than Bucky Williams. Plus, he was a 5-year player at Michigan with Jim Harbaugh, so he's probably got a much easier path to make this final 53. But the difference with him is that he has not played a single snap at center, but he has played both guard and tackle spots. And also, he doesn't flash that run game dominance like Bucky Williams does. I think there's a reality where both Karsen Barnhart and Bucky Williams both make this roster. I think definitely both of them are at least going to be on the practice squad. But it's going to be a really interesting battle for these last few spots among this offensive line. And whoever earns their spot on this final 53 is going to be in a great spot with Justin Herbert at quarterback, Jim Harbaugh as the head coach, and the Chargers' new philosophy, which is to prioritize the offensive line in every aspect of what they do in hopes of becoming the offensive lineman factory of the NFL. And if you didn't see my video yesterday, there are 2 rookies that are already impressing in Chargers rookie minicamp.